Hello and welcome. This is going to be our homework help video for the homework titled Simplifying Slope. We'll start with this first section up here. We need to find the slope of the line that passes through each pair of points and then simplify the fraction if necessary. And I say here that most of them can be. Most of these are set up so that the slope you get is going to be a fraction that can be simplified in one way or another. Let's just start with problem number 1. We'll do about 3 of these. One way I like to find the slope between 2 points is to start with a little xy table. Then take these points and fill them into the table. The 15 should be across from the 3. The 0 should be across from the 18, just like they are in the ordered pairs. And then I draw arrows on the outside, and I ask the question, how do I get from 15 to 0? Well, if I did 0 minus 15, I would get negative 15. And that makes sense. 15 minus 15 gets me to 0. How do I get from 3 to 18? Well, I need to count up 15. All right, this number over here is my delta y. This number over here is my delta x. And then the formula delta y over delta x gets me my slope. So delta y was 15. Delta x is negative 15. And that is my slope there. Can we simplify that? Yes, I can simplify this. And I'm going to do that by a process called completing the division. So 15 over negative 15 really means 15 divided by negative 15. Fractions are division. So 15 divided by negative 15, that gives us an integer answer of just negative 1. So the slope for problem number 1 is negative 1. All right. Let's pick another one, maybe number 3 here, and let's do this with a different technique. This time I'm going to use the formula. The formula, point slope formula, goes y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now I just have to label these points appropriately, and we always label them x1, y1, x2, y2. Write that down somewhere and try and commit it to memory. It's a very useful formula. All right, now I just have to plug these in. So for y2, I go look over here. Okay, for y2, I labeled the 20 y2. Then I write the minus from the formula. Then I look for y1. y1 is a 12. Fill that in. x2 is a negative 16. I write the minus from the formula. Then I go look at x1. x1 is a negative 20. Notice the double negative there. That's going to become a plus. All right, so let's simplify. 20 minus 12, that's an 8. Negative 16 minus a negative 20 is the same as negative 16 plus 20, which I know is a 4. And I can again complete the division here. 8 divided by 4 just equals 2. All right, let's pick another one. Number 5. I'm going to do this one with the table method again. Short table, negative 3 across from the negative 7, negative 19 across from the negative 13. On this side, we are going from a small negative number to a bigger negative number. We have to go down. We have to go down specifically 16 units. Think of it as we are on the 3rd level of the basement. We need to go down to the 19th level of the basement. You got to go down 16 floors. Same thing's happening over here. I've got to go down 6. All right, delta y over delta x has become negative 6 over negative 16. One thing I can do right off the bat is a negative divided by a negative. Those cancel out. Negatives divided by negatives are always positive. Now notice that the top and the bottom are both even, so I'm going to divide them both by 2. And what do I get here? I get 3 over 8. 3 over 8. All right, hopefully that's enough practice with those for you to finish up those 8. Let's take a look at this next section. Find the slope of each line by connecting the given points with a slope triangle and then using the formula rise over run. Simplify if possible. So I deliberately picked points that were very far apart so that we would get slope triangles that can be simplified a little bit. So let's just do number 9 right here. I see the 2 bold points. I connect them with a right triangle. Add the little right angle marker in there. And then if I ever move right or up, that's a positive number. If I ever move left or down, that's a negative number. And I always go from the left point to the right point. So let's see, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units over, 1, 2 units up. So 6 is my run, 2 is my rise, and therefore rise over run equals 2 over 6. Can this be simplified? It can. I can divide the top and the bottom by 2 because they're both even and get a final answer of 1/3. Positive 1/3. And you can just double check the sign on that. If I was to walk along this line, would I be going uphill or downhill? I'd be going uphill, so this is definitely positive. I think that'll be good for that section there. But let's look at 15 real quick. If I tried to draw a triangle in here, I wouldn't come over at all before going up. This bottom part down here would be 0 units. So my run is 0 and my rise is 1, 2, 3. So rise over run becomes 3 over 0. And watch out here, we're dividing by 0. That can't be done. That's undefined. So vertical lines have an undefined slope. That's something that you could just commit to memory, or you could try and draw in a slope triangle and then try and do the calculation. And when you see that you're dividing by 0, you'll realize that this must be undefined. All right. Yep, I'm happy with that. All right, let's put it all together to write the slope-intercept form of one of these lines. I'll pick just number 17 here. All right. So the form is y equals mx plus b. I need to find a slope for m and a y-intercept for b. And then I'm going to leave x and y alone. So slope is the more challenging one. With a graph, you've got to pick 2 points where the line goes exactly through 2 grid lines. Like right here looks like it goes through exactly -4, -1. And right here looks like it goes exactly through 0, -2. Connect that up with a right triangle, a slope triangle. All right, to get from this point to this point, I have to go down 1, so my rise is -1. Then I've got to go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. So rise over run becomes -1 over 4. That's going to be my m value. And then for the y-intercept, this is my y-axis right here. Let me highlight it. That's my y-axis right there. So I have to look, where does this line intercept that axis? Well, it intercepts right here. What is the value of that point? Well, it's 0, -2. The -2 is what I want for the y-intercept. So b equals -2. We cross the y-axis at -2. Now that I've got an m and a b value, let's just fill those into y equals mx plus b. The -1/4 goes in there, the -2 goes in there, and I get y equals -1/4 x minus 2. I chose to write the negative out in front. That's fine, or you can write it up there with the 1. You could even write it on the bottom, but that's not as common. And since it was plus a -2, I just switched that into a -2. There we go. That's our equation that will generate this line. I can just now take that equation with me, and I don't have to bring the whole graph because this equation will always make the graph. All right, well, hopefully that's been helpful. That's the end for this homework help video. Hope you have a good rest of your day.